Well, actress Keira Knightley is taking a high-profile stand against domestic violence. She has released a shocking new anti-violence public service announcement in Britain. Wow, this ad comes just days before R&B singer Chris Brown is scheduled to be arraigned. That is tough to watch. Singer is charged with attacking his girlfriend, Rihanna. No one knows yet how he is expected to plead, and sources say Rihanna has made it clear she also does not want to testify in this case. So what can we expect from this high-profile hearing? Criminal lawyer Scott Mitchell is joining us today to talk about it. Good morning to you, Scott. Thanks for being with us. Wow, I mean, seeing that Keira Knightley ad and talking about domestic violence, this is a fact of life for so many people every day, is it not?
A lot of domestic violence cases are handled both in this city and California and everywhere else, and this one is proceeding in the ways that a lot of them do.
And no one is immune from it, not from just the common man to even singers. Let's talk about this hearing today. When you say arraignment, what does that mean? Well,
it's the initial court appearance where the defendant gets formally notified of the charges and has to enter a plea. I fully expect in this case that his lawyer is going to enter a not guilty plea, and they'll proceed down the line with some pretrial hearings.
Why not guilty? Besides the obvious, if there's some evidence that he might have done this, why not just say guilty and work out a plea agreement? Can that be done?
Well, because the defense attorney is getting paid a lot of money to defend him, and even if ultimately a change of plea occurs, that won't happen until a lot of negotiations have been undertaken and some resolutions have been reached. But initially, you're going to see a not guilty plea for sure today. You'll see the proclamation of innocence on the courthouse steps and the faith in the jury system as they move on. But there are going to be some problems in this case because, as I understand it, Rihanna is reluctant to testify. And if she chooses not to, the government's got some problems.
Yeah, why is that? Why do they have problems? What more do they need to do to try their case if she doesn't testify?
Well, it depends on what other evidence they have, but if she doesn't testify, they're going to have to make some choices. One, they could try to force her to testify, and they have, through the court system, contempt of court power if she doesn't, which even theoretically could land her in jail. You may remember the Barry Bonds case where the witness didn't want to testify, and they put him in jail. Mm-hmm. But in this case, the prosecution is not going to seek that on a victim of domestic violence, so that option is out.
Okay.
The next option would be to put her on the stand. If they do that, it's likely, if she does change her story and go back from the original story she gave, then they've got another problem. They can try to put in her prior statement, but unless they have a lot of other evidence, that statement's not enough to get it to a jury. Third issue is the one that may be the most likely, and that is ultimately this case gets resolved, where you have a victim that does not want to testify and you have a defendant that probably doesn't want a trial. You're looking ultimately, I think, at this case being resolved by a plea agreement.
And what are the laws? What are the sentencing guidelines for something like that? If it's, for what we know, a first-time offense for Chris Brown, if he in fact is convicted, what might he get?
Well, in California law, I understand this is a third-degree felony or a 5-year offense, so it could be punishable by prison. From my reading of the search warrant affidavit, which I got offline, the facts of the case are pretty serious, and the amount of violence was pretty significant. So, all things being equal, if the government can prove this case, it could easily be a jail case. However, if you have a reluctant victim, things can change, and this could end up being a probation-type disposition.
All right, Scott Mitchell joining us to talk about the arraignment of Chris Brown, charged with felony assault and criminal threatening. Thanks, Scott.
Sure.
Nice to see you this morning.